Yorkshire Kris Weekly, and as you can see, it's a glorious day. It's warm, it's 10 degrees, sun shining, and it feels more like spring than winter. But the last week or so, since the last video, we have had some cold weather. We've had snow trying to fall, but nothing sort of accumulating on the ground. We had some icy, frosty mornings and some really chilly northerly winds. But for the next few days, it's looking quite warm and spring-like. It's 10 degrees in the sunshine today, and it's going to be warm the next couple of days. So the plants are sort of stirring, and things like the musabaju, like this, will actually continue growing if it's 10 degrees with sunshine on it. Slowly, but it will continue to grow a bit. But don't worry if you've wrapped yours up, it will be fine because they won't have the sunshine on those plants, so they won't grow too much inside a shelter. But at the moment, I've not put these in a shelter yet. But I will if the weather gets cold and we're looking at -4, -5. I will put a shelter of straw around these. As the weather's so nice, I thought in this video we'll look at some of the plants that are still hanging on, which really should be tucked away for winter, but I've left out, and we'll show you those. We'll be looking at plant of the week, which is something very architectural, and we'll also be doing some jobs around the garden. So that's what's coming up in this week's episode.
So now it's getting colder overall, we need to be careful with watering pipes outside. So I've got some outdoor water and pipes going around the garden, going to taps around the garden. So one of those taps is over here. We don't want water freezing in these pipes, I've got to drain all the outdoor water pipes. So I've turned off the water inside the house, the source, and I'm just going to empty these taps. Like so, and that'll prevent the taps and the pipes from expanding and possibly bursting over winter if there was ice formed inside. Just a quick little job that I'll carry on doing around the garden because I've got a few taps to empty.
So this is my plant of the week this week, and it is the Xanthodecia, and this is also known as a Calla Lily, and it's a hardy Calla Lily. It has these quite glossy green leaves, and what it's mainly grown for are these beautiful pure white flowers that, as you can see, we're in December now and it's still pushing out flowers with several more here. These leaves will survive down to -3 to -5 if it's not a long frost, and as we've had no proper cold weather yet, it's still looking as good now as it did in summer. But this starts flowering sort of May, June time, and if you're lucky it'll continue flowering throughout the summer, the autumn, and now actually into winter. It likes wet soil, but it can cope with some dry soil as well. So here it's actually growing on a bit of a bank, and it's not too wet, but it is very heavy clay soil here. But I've also got some growing in the ponds. I've got one just across there, and as you can see, that's very glossy green, lots of good foliage on that with more flowers appearing as well. So it's a fantastic plant, looks tropical and exotic, but it's proper hardy, much hardier than all the other types of Calla lilies that you can grow. So this is definitely a plant to grow.
Now, believe it or not, I have still left out some Onsete Haniba bananas behind the greenhouse here, and they're still looking fine. Still got nice green leaves without any frost damage on. Got a bit of red spider mite damage from earlier in the year on the oldest leaves, but the rest of it is looking good. So I will need to dig these up really. Basically I've run out of room, but I will get round to digging them up and finding a space for them somewhere in the greenhouse. There's all sorts of other things looking good at the moment. If I just quickly go around. Still got the tree ferns, and they're still got the green leaves because we've not had any really cold weather yet. And down here we've even got a little tomato plant looking sorry for itself, but it's still slowly growing. Didn't plant it there, it just seeded itself, and obviously that won't survive a proper cold night. But it's funny just to see it still growing. I've also got lots of aeoniums that I just don't have space for in the greenhouse, but these are still all nice fleshy and green and looking good. Now this Briar Amata palm is still looking great in the sunshine with its blue leaves. I suppose I should really cover this. I'll put a shelter over the top soon because it doesn't like temperatures really below -5. Not that we've had near that yet, but you never know. So we'll get a shelter over this at some point, but it's still looking gorgeous. I like keeping it uncovered for as long as possible so I can admire it as I walk around the garden. And there are some other things still looking good, including we've still got ricinus in this part of the garden. It's still with its glossy red leaves, and that's not been damaged by any frost yet. It's got a bit of shelter above from the musabaji, which has been shredded by the winds and also by the grasses on one side as well. That's still looking very nice. We've even got a ginger still looking okay down here because it's not been frosted off. And round there, if you look through, also got the Washingtonia robusta palm underneath the Tetrapanax, which we'll talk about in a second. Now this is my biggest Tetrapanax papyrifera rex. Still got its huge green leaves on it because they've not been frosted off yet, which is protecting the plants underneath it at the moment. But what I'm going to look at today is in the middle of the Tetrapanax rex. It's doing something that's quite strange when you've not seen it before, and that is it's flowering. So you can see here loads and loads of flower buds, and there's sort of the fuzzy tomentonum that's on the bottom of the leaves is also all over the flower buds, and you don't really want to shake this and get this in your mouth and your throat because it can cause coughing fits, so it's best not to aggravate these. But as you can see, loads of flowers coming. You can actually see the individual little flowers probably better. Let's just zoom in at this point here. You can see those little flower buds coming. So yeah, it is flowering. It always tries to flower sort of end of autumn into winter. If we get a very mild start of winter through to January, then these might flower and produce seed. But it's very unlikely that will happen. More often than not, we'll get cold weather and it'll just abort the flowers, they'll just fall off, or we get a severe frost and it'll kill them outright. But if you do see the end of summer and the leaves getting smaller and smaller, don't panic, that's what they normally do just before the flower. So you got the huge great leaves growing in spring and early summer, and then on a mature plant you see the leaves do get smaller as the year progresses, and then all these flower buds, flower stalks burst out the centre, which will cause the plant normally to branch and have new growth points. As you can see there, those tiny new leaves, so next year it'll have a fork in the growth, and more often than not it'll grow at a different angle. So that is Tetrapanax flowering. That's what it looks like. Like I said, very lucky to get seeds. If we do, I'll sow them, but I'm very, very unlikely that we will. But it's great to see that the Tetrapanax is still looking as good as it did in early summer with its big green leaves, and now it's early December 2017. And here's a plant that I don't think I've really shown before on any of my videos. It's quite a surprising one to see growing up north, and that is this tree fern, Cyathea dealbata. And it's still got green leaves. It's been out for 3 or 4 years now. It has beautiful silvery white underneath the leaves. So that has survived the last few winters. All it's got is a canopy of all the plants above it and whatever leaves are chuck over it, and it grows back every spring. Not got a big trunk on it, but nonetheless it's a nice fern to say I've got growing in my northerly garden. So thank you for watching Yorkshire Kris Weekly. Join me again next week for more jobs in the garden and lots of more plants that are growing well up here in Yorkshire in the middle of winter. Thanks for watching.